Hi, today I'll be talking about the impact of remote work on mental health, especially in small businesses during COVID-19. I am Karthikeya.
So for today, what we're going to be discussing about are two studies about the impact that COVID-19 had on remote work. What this study does is focuses on mental health, stress, and burnout. First, research has shown that the sudden shift to remote work increased a lot of stress levels amongst employees. According to a 2020 survey, 69% of workers experienced heightened anxiety and burnout from teleworking. This is especially for small businesses because they have very limited resources and it's hard for them to keep employees supported while they're trying to work.
And what's interesting is that this impact is even more among the underrepresented groups, like people of color, who often face additional challenges in remote work setting. Small businesses with diverse workforce have particularly adaptable and resourceful. It's not just about having technology, it's about how we use the technology despite we are physically apart.
So for our second study that we have, it digs deeper into the stress factors. So it looks at workers who didn't previously work in a remote setting and found that remote work with adequate preparation led to a higher stress or burnout. Some key things that cause stress was a balancing of home and work responsibilities, or having some boundaries between home and work, and then also managing time effectively without having a face-to-face support system, or because they only had to use email or Zoom or anything like that to be able to communicate. And this study also found that stress was more significant in certain demographics with women, younger workers, and people who hadn't worked from home before facing the greatest challenge.
And regarding these both studies and the findings we found, the findings suggest that if the remote work is to be a long-term solution, the organization need to think strategically. Some recommendations include providing home office equipment, establishing flexible work hours, and creating policies that allow hybrid work models.
So at the end of the day, both of these studies will highlight the mental health impact that remote work has caused since the 20 or COVID pandemic. And organizations should be supporting employees through different tools and policies that they can create.
This research focus is straightforward. I am looking into how sudden shift to remote work has impacted the mental health in small businesses. I aim to identify the actionable insights. I want to help the manager support the employees better, especially with communication, mental health, and role clarity. This research in particularly relevant to smaller companies and underrepresented groups who face unique challenges. These employees often don't have same resources or support as those in the bigger company. Let's start with strengths. For this study, the research shines a list light on mental health impact that are often overlooked, particularly for small businesses. It uses real experiences, actual stories from employees, this and makes the findings more personal and actionable. And finally, the study offers specific strategies manager can apply, like improving communication and mental health summary. In short, this research is directly applicable and brings valuable real world perspectives. Now let's be honest. Every study has its own limitations. The weaknesses of this research focus is that the research focuses on a single small business in real estate, which may not apply to all industries. Most of the participants are African American. This focus is valuable, but it may not reflect the experiences of all demographics because there is a sample bias. So while study gives us unique insight, it may need expansion of broader application. Next, let's look at opportunities. One big opportunity is growing awareness of mental health. COVID-19 has pushed mental health to forefront. This study is more relevant than ever. By extending the research to other industries, the demographics we could deepen its impact and make it more universal. In short, there is a lot of room for this research to grow and apply in broader contexts. Finally, let's consider the threats that could impact this research. research. Evolving work models is constantly changing. What we learn today could have become less relevant as hybrid models evolve. There's flood of studies on remote work post-COVID. It's easy for these research to get overshadowed or face conflicting findings. The insights are tailored for small businesses, which may limit interest from larger companies. In short, keeping this research relevant will require adapting to new work trends.
So for my paper, the focus behind this paper or this SWOT analysis was to investigate the mental health impact of remote work by examining the perceived stress that was happening amongst the workers during the COVID pandemic. And the whole point of this was to understand how the remote work affects the stress levels and burnout rates across different demographics and work backgrounds. This will help us provide insight into the psychological impact that remote work has on maintaining a home and work life balance. And then the value of this research was that the study offers evidence on the amount of stress and burnout experienced in forced remote work, which can inform employers in making resources and like helping add structure to future remote or hybrid work models. So for the strengths of the SWOT analysis, this paper allowed for a robust methodology. It utilized validated scales like the perceived stress scale and the Copenhagen burnout inventory, which this enhanced reality. It also had timely relevance and focused on remote work during the COVID pandemic, which happened not too long ago. And this was whenever the real aspect of remote work became very popular. And it also helped us with insightful findings. It helped us provide details and insights into the stress and burnout factors that can be used to inform future policies. So for the weaknesses, it allowed for a sample bias. This paper was limited to the U.S. workers, which this means that it can't be captured over the whole world because the COVID pandemic was a global thing. And it also was self-reported data. This relied on subjective views and assessments from the individuals. And this also there could have been an aspect of political bias and many other biases that could have affected the paper. But then also there was a demographic focus. It primarily talked about upper management roles and didn't go to the roles of like fast food workers or lower end jobs, but it went to roles with a more professional setting. So for some of the opportunities, the rising interest in remote work, this allowed for an increase in companies going to remote. There are now more people that can use this study, or they can use the study because there are more people working remote. Um, Now, if there's also was a potential for expansion, this was extending the research area to diverse demographics could improve how relevant the data would be. And also, this would be very good to collaborate with HR in specific companies because they're the ones that can able to have conversations with employers about specific things going on in their work environment. But they can collaborate with HR inside every company to do quarterly evaluations or something along those lines. So a threat from our SWOT analysis or my SWOT analysis was that there could be rapidly changing work models. So companies are starting to shift to a hybrid model. This is fine, and then the findings on fully remote work may become less because they're swapping over to a completely different model. And another threat is competing studies, so that there was a lot of studies in COVID-19 research, and this could overshadow challenging the challenge of finding things for this for mental health, and also evolving remote work culture. There's an increased adaptation to remote work could alter stress and burnout levels, reducing study impact over time.
So what I'm going to be talking about is the introduction of SWOT analysis. So the purpose of SWOT analysis is that it stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And so the whole point of the SWOT analysis is to evaluate internal and external factors that affect performance and to develop a strategic response. Um, so the focus behind this analysis is to examine the effects of remote work during COVID-19 on the employees and their well-being and productivity and mental health. And some of the themes that we have for this is mental health, the employee satisfaction, and the work-life balance. And so what that entails is having working from home, having how to balance out a home and a work environment. And then the goal is to identify ways to leverage strengths, address weaknesses, and implement strategies to improve remote work overall. And the importance of the strategic action. The reason it matters is that we need an understanding and how to respond to the SWOT factors helps organizations remain adaptable and maintain productivity in a changing work environment.
Coming to the combined SWOT analysis, as we are studying the two research paper that as a group, then we came to some of the strengths that saw some of the strong sense of team cohesion, reliance, and adaptability despite teleworking have challenges. Access to technology and tools for the remote work are also some of the strengths we can talk about, and prior experiences with teleworking for employee aiding a smoother transition. Coming to the weaknesses, increased stress and burnout reported by employees, particularly due to low role overload and lack of clear work boundaries. Limited managerial strategies to address remote work challenges, particularly for employees with prior teleworking experience. And also, we can talk about the weaknesses which most of the smaller demographic people have, like not getting too much clear communication, etc.
So for the opportunities, with the opportunities, we need to leverage remote work flexibility. And so this will be able to attract and retain talent from diverse geographical regions. We also need to invest in mental health and reliance programs and to add policies that help with a home and work life environment. And also, we want to explore permanent remote work options for many different roles throughout a company. This will be able to reduce the actual cost that the company will have to add to their funding. And then some of the threats is that ongoing stress and burnout could reduce the productivity, but can also increase turnover. Uh, could be a potential disconnect among remote employees, leading to reduced cohesion and collaboration.
While coming to the strategic recommendation that we provide as a team, that we have to take in consideration of the strengths and enhance the team cohesion and utilize existing technologies. And also we have to address the weaknesses, providing necessary resources, clarifying roles and expectations, and also while capitalizing on the opportunities that the remote work is providing, like adopting the flexible work policies and investing in mental health of employees and also their well-being. While we have to mitigate the threats like regular employee feedback and surveys, and build a more easier and much clear communication between the remote work culture. Conclude, my focus in this research was understanding the effects of remote work on mental health, particularly within small businesses. Through a SWOT analysis, I identified key strengths and valuable insights as well as areas of improvement. The study highlights strengths that add value to our understanding of how remote works impact mental well-being. It also pinpoints specific areas where research could dig deeper, providing more comprehensive support for small businesses. Thank you.
So, for my paper, this study provides valuable insights into the increase of stress and burnout experienced by remote workers during the COVID-19 pandemic. And with my paper, it also was limited by some sample bias and self-reported data, but the findings are still relevant for support measures and policies in the future of remote or hybrid work environments. As remote work becomes more of a societal norm, this research does express the need to continue studying to create support measures and different policies to remote work conditions so that people can have a better home and work life environment.